My name is DJ, and today we're going to have a very long Pokemon discussion. We're going to talk about the state of the market, things moving up. Rudy, of course, inspiration. Who doesn't get inspired by Rudy? We are not talking about collecting. We are not talking about like the love of the hobby per se. We are focused today's video on business, on money. I guess you could argue investing, but money aspect of it today. And I'm gonna talk about the good, bad, where I kind of see the market going, the confusion I'm seeing, blah, 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 blah. You will learn absolutely nothing from this video. But if you have a lot of time to listen to a rant, here we are. So, and hit a like on this video if you don't mind. We just broke 4,000 subs. I appreciate you guys. I've been cleaning this ETB room. This is my heavy bags of Prismatic Evolution behind you. Cases, sealed cases. I think maybe there's a white flare up this one, might be white flare. And this is a SPC for Prismatic, and that one is a UPC, the Mega UPC. I remember watching this video from Rudy Alpha Investments not too long ago, but for whatever reason, it came up today. And I've been thinking, looking around as I'm cleaning my room, as I have certain things that are heavy bags like this, I still have, 2 or 3 cases left of this. I don't even remember. Which one is this, man? This is Perfect Order, and I'm looking around at certain things that I got in the mail. I just have a bunch of storage areas. And like, this is the UPCs that nobody wanted, the Mega UPCs that you couldn't sell for 140 bucks. And now they're like 250 plus. And I was like, damn. For whatever reason, Rudy's video came up and the message was clear to me, which I've already known, but it was stay the course. Stay the course, DJ. Now, obviously, Rudy didn't tell me that because I don't talk to Rudy or anything, but I felt the video reminded me that at the time I needed to hear it while I'm cleaning all this stuff out, while I'm moving from this storage area to the next storage area, the booster box area, and all these things. It was remembering to buy things when they're down, to buy things when we're consolidating, to buy things when there's not a lot of attention on it. And I don't know what's right for you. I'm not saying you should do any of these things. I'm saying for me in my business, I need to buy more Pokemon. I need to buy a lot more Pokemon. So I'm thinking about, what can I rotate out? What am I up on really big that I think I could reallocate those funds for the business? Because again, that's what I'm thinking of, right? I'm thinking about DJ's Poke Center. I'm thinking about the longevity of DJ's Poke Center. I'm not thinking necessarily like investing. And of course, there are things I want to invest in, like this Prismatic Evolution. Massive, well, for me, it's massive. I mean, at the time I bought like 28 cases, which for me was a big deal. I know for a lot of you watching, it's probably not a big deal having 30 cases of a set or something, but hey, maybe it is, right? Maybe you have one case. So some of the things I pulled from the other storage area, Phantasmal Flames ETB case. And it looked kind of weird. Like, I know it was from a trustworthy source. I won't say who it is. I knew it was trustworthy, but the tape looked really weird. I put a picture in my Discord and I was like, I really don't want to sell this to somebody because somebody's gonna be like, oh, this don't look real. Even though I know it's real and the person that sold it to me has distro, I was just like, it's just not worth it. And I looked at the sealed case premium of the Phantasmal Flames ETBs, and it was only like $100 anyways. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna open it. And I opened it, and of course it was real. Of course, I knew that. But I didn't want to deal with the person because it was just, whatever, right? And I put those on the store for $5 under market each one. And if you buy all 10, you get the cardboard that comes with it. Like I said, there's no case premium. I put $5 off, and it's just so much easier to store, as you can see. You ever had 10 loose ETBs? That takes like this much space, or like this tall. It's just, it ruins the plastic and everything. So I think it's good. So I added Phantasmal Flames. I added a Mega Base ETB case because we're up pretty big on that. I held that for quite some time. I have Twilight Masquerade case on there and a Scarlet and Violet base. We got a lot of cases on the store. White Flare on the store. Black Bolt. We actually sold our first Black Bolt yesterday. The psychology, as I have said for many times, of the Pokemon buyer is interesting, and it always fascinates me every time. You see, unless you own a store, unless you have, maybe an LGS is similar, I'm not sure, but at least for the online store owners, you get to see what the buyer thinks. Not like I'm having a discussion with this person, order number 1075. It's not like that. But I see where people place their money. And I see when they do it, and how fast they do it. Now, obviously that's anecdotal to me in my store based on my pricing, based on your area of your shipping. It's going to be more expensive if you're like in Cali or Texas or something or whatever. But I get to see a different level of the market than I think a lot of people who don't have a store get to see. And it's always the same thing. Every single time since I opened this store, people don't want things when they're easy to get. For example, Black Bolt ETBs, right? I remember I was trying to sell Black Bolt ETBs last year. I forget when, for like $80, $85. And nobody would buy them off me. White Flare. I had the most trouble in the world trying to sell White Flare ETBs for like 77, I think. Yeah, I think it was like 77 or $80. You just couldn't sell this shit. And now I look at Black Bolt. Black Bolt ETBs are close to $200. Are you kidding? 200, it's like 180, 185. I'm not even kidding. And I bought these sealed cases of Black Bolt. And it's really hard to price Black Bolt and White Flare because I'm going to say it was rather short printed. Now, I don't have any qualifications to comment on that, but I never, ever see sealed cases of Black Bolt, White Flare. It's so rare to find. And you look on TCG Player, bro, up until recently, because now that the loose ETB is going for like, what did I say, 180, 185, whatever it is, close to $200, the sealed case has been $2,000 for a while. But nobody was willing to sell under $2,000. Nobody on TCG was selling under $2,000, but the buyers didn't want to spend over $1,400. So you had this weird parallel of like the buyers are like, $2,000's too much, even though you can't find them literally anywhere you go. But now that the loose ETB has gone up so much, well, what do you think that the sealed case premium is going to be? Do you think people are going to keep it at $2,000? I don't know. I only have questions. I don't have answers. But yesterday, one sold, finally, a Black Bolt ETB case. And then I thought about it and I was like, okay, good. I'm glad it sold. You know, I didn't make much money on it. I think I made like $125, $150. It wasn't much. But if I could get volume on that, which Black Bolt, White Flare, there is no volume. You can't get volume on this shit because there's just not enough, man. And it's totally different when you talk about Prismatic Evolution, right? Prismatic Evolution, many, many reprints, right? You buy a pallet, I bought a pallet of Prismatic or whatever it was. Maybe it was a little more, a little less, whatever 28, 30 cases was. I don't remember, man. But Black Bolt and White Flare is different, you know? I feel like, damn, can I replace this? And I genuinely think the answer is no. I really think no. There's no more for me to get. Unless there's a huge reprint coming or something, which great, maybe it will. Maybe it will. But it doesn't seem like it. And it's so interesting. The amount of times, even though I've only had the store since October, Phantasmal Flames couldn't sell those ETBs for $75. Isn't that crazy? $75. Now it's $155, I think. 150, yeah, 150 or 155 per ETB. It's interesting. When you just stay the course, when you just stick with it, and you just keep buying Pokemon. Again, not for you, I'm saying for me, right? As a store owner at least. You just keep buying stuff. And you just never know what's going to be hot, what's going to not be hot. Some of the sets that I thought, well, I believed in personally, like White Flare, Black Bolt and stuff, I thought they were great. They were not well received, folks, at all. Gen 5, this were not well received, but I loved it. And now it's so well received, and now it's so obvious. When you just fast forward, how long ago was that? How long ago was Black Bolt, White Flare? I think Destined Rivals was May. That was like right after Destined, right? I don't know, the fall, right? Right before, I can't remember, whatever it was, right? The fall of last year. And then you fast forward a little bit, and it's more expensive or on par with Ascended Heroes. And it's more expensive than Prismatic Evolution or on par as far as price. But yet, there's so much less supply of Black Bolt, White Flare than Prismatic. Prismatic Evolution, love it to death, but there's so much of this shit, right? In comparison to Black Bolt, White Flare. Does that mean it's a good time to buy? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But now that the market's consolidating and so many people are selling their collections, I mentioned the other day, I think, maybe a week ago, that, you know, I was thinking about going to 78%. And so I offered that on Instagram. Actually, nobody was interested in 78%. It's fascinating. The 2% difference. 80%, they'll sell your collection all day, every day. Everybody's, I don't want to say begging, but there's a long list of people trying to sell their collections at 80. But when you move it down to 78, that 2%, man, people hang on to 2% like it's their fucking livelihood or something. I get it. I get it. Not mad, just mentioning, right? I had a comment one time. Well-respected guy, I still respect him. He said, DJ, just last week you said this, but this week you said that. Yeah. Do you know why? Because I report my journey from day one of running this operation to where we are now in 2 years from now. And yeah, the market changes. I'm not changing. The market is adjusting in a timeline. Now, the day to day, does it genuinely matter? No. Does it matter week to week? No. Does it really matter month to month? No. But I got to make content, right? So I'm going to talk about it. When it goes up, that's what we're going to talk about. When it goes down, I'm going to talk about that. Otherwise, you'd see me once every year and I do a video for the yearly analysis, and that's not a way to run a channel. That's not a way to run the business, right? I've looked around at some of the things in this room and the other room, and I'm like, man, should I sell that? Should I buy that? Should I get more of that? You know, something like this. Dude, I have boxes of this shit. I told you guys, some LGSs, I helped them out because they couldn't sell Perfect Order. To be honest, I can't sell Perfect Order either. I bought boxes of this stuff, man. That's why I have all these cases. That's why, dude, I've got cases of the ETBs now. But I got them for MSRP. Well, yeah, pretty much MSRP. It was like a $2 more for these. And I think the ETBs were $5. So it was like $65 I paid for the ETB. So whatever, close enough to MSRP. I don't care. Interesting. What will happen 1 year from now with Perfect Order? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with these like not so popular sets? I remember Shrouded Fable not too long ago. Everybody said it was the worst set in the world. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Feelings aside though, have you looked at the price of Shrouded Fable? I want to say it's 145 or 150, a 2x. That's really great gains considering just last year it was like the most hated set in the world. And they didn't print much of that. Stellar Crown. Dude, Stellar Crown? Oh my God. Talk about a hated set. Everybody was hating on Stellar Crown. I know there's somebody out there. Yeah, Stellar Crown's my favorite. I'm not talking about you, okay? You're in the anomaly. Stellar Crown, dude. Now it's well above 300. I think it's 350 a booster box. And that's one of my best sellers all of a sudden. Stellar Crown. People are preparing, as they probably should, to be honest, for the next block that's rotating out. Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, Stellar Crown, Twilight Masquerade. What else? There's something else. Feel free to let me know what I'm missing. Should we be chasing the 30th anniversary? Should we be chasing Rayquaza? Should we be chasing the new hot set? Or should we be looking at the things that are 10 months away from rotating out? These are just questions I have. These are things that I have difficulty balancing. Because to me, the obvious answer, if I was investing, would be focusing on the things that are about to rotate out, right? 10 months goes by like this. Guys, we're in the middle or later half of June. We're like 89 days away from the 30th anniversary. The year's almost over already, bro. And I remember it was just January. So 10 months, trust me, it is going to fly by. It's hard though, right? Because I know the most, maybe not obvious, but the thing I probably should be doing is buying Stellar Crown, Twilight, more Prismatic, everything rotating out, Surging Sparks, those sorts of things. But on the other hand, what's consumed my life is this business. And so if I buy a lot of that stuff, I know it's going to do really well. It's so freaking obvious to buy the next stuff rotating out. Because one, a lot of people aren't talking about it. And even the people talking about Prismatic, there are a good amount of people talking about Prismatic. The market's not receiving it the same way. They will. They will, believe me. It will be over 200 very soon, the ETB. I should say very soon. One of these days, soon enough, right? These things will be well received soon. But then what do? Do I invest all this money into those sets that, besides Stellar Crown, which Stellar Crown, I'm telling you, sells so fast these days, man. A lot of people love Stellar Crown all of a sudden. I mean, everything I buy Stellar Crown sells out like this, bro. I mean, I bought 300 packs, boom. Nobody wanted them, and all of a sudden, somebody just bought all of them. Like, everybody wants this shit all of a sudden. It's crazy. But what should I do? You know, what would you do in that situation? Would you not get what you know, the liquidity? Because the liquidity, to be honest with you, is going to be the new sets. Now, how long does that liquidity last depends on the set. That is where things get interesting. That is something that I must continue to learn. Because again, we haven't even been in business a year yet, but we're coming up on a year. It's pretty crazy to think about. Just in October, we'll hit a year. Wow, crazy. You know, the only set that didn't sell super well for me the first like 5 to 7 days was Perfect Order. It's interesting. I think you could get these now for $200 flat. If you ask somebody, you probably get them for like 180. So I didn't go super heavy on Perfect Order. The only time, like I said, I bought a bunch of Perfect Order was because I helped out a bunch of LGSs. I think it was 2 or 3, it was multiple. DJ, can you please help me? Nobody will buy this. I have to pay my credit card. I'll bail you out. Sure, I bought them all, right? Because it was so damn cheap anyways, that I'm like, at that point, I don't mind having it, right? But what do you think next year for Perfect Order? You think it's still gonna be like $65 in ETB? I don't. You think the booster boxes are gonna be 180, 200? I don't. And what about Chaos Rising? Chaos Rising right now, very slow mover, right? I had ETBs listed for $75. It's the newest set. Bro, that shit took like 2 weeks to sell it. $75. I get it, shipping, blah, blah, blah. Buy multiple, it saves you on shipping. There's nothing I can do about shipping. I hate people that say that. Shipping. Dude, I lose money on shipping. Did you know that? Even charging you $10, $12. I lose almost every single time on shipping. There's nothing I can do about shipping, right? It is what it is. I've been thinking more and more about staying the course, because that was the video that got recommended to me. Once again, for whatever reason, YouTube just sometimes knows how to talk to me. And I just know I need more Pokemon. Because only one of two things are in my mind. We either make a multi-million-dollar business or we fail trying. There is no other situation in my mind. Now, am I crazy? I could be. I could be crazy. I might be crazy. I have people tell me, what if it doesn't work out? What if Pokemon goes away? What if Pokemon, all this negativity, all this mindset, I've heard this shit before. That's what's crazy. Not in Pokemon. See, a lot of people see me and they're like, you know, he's new to Pokemon, didn't know what he's talking about. You really don't know who I am and like what my past is. I have heard this same thing 1,000,000 times. When people told me, don't buy Tesla. I bought Tesla when they were going bankrupt, right? I've talked about this a few times. I bought Nvidia when nobody wanted this shit. I've bought a lot of things throughout my life that changed my life for the better. And everybody thought I was crazy, dude. And like, I'm not gonna say when I do something, I should feel crazy, because that's kind of dumb, right? But a lot of the times, Bitcoin, dude, when I bought dude, I've made a killing off of Bitcoin. Killing, 3 full cycles now, right? I mean, stupid amounts of money, bought properties and everything, like from the money, like I'm telling you. And so it's like, does Pokemon exactly work with the markets? No. Does Pokemon exactly work with the S&P 500? Well, no. You know, it's not a one-to-one. But the collectible space tends to do things that the general market does, but it doesn't always. That was something that was hard for me to learn, because I figured, you know, Bitcoin was really carrying Pokemon, and it might have in a way. In 2024, 2025, that's when Bitcoin went to all-time highs, right? We had the halving in April of 2024. We started to pick up the bull run towards the later half of 2024, and guess what was doing well? Bitcoin. We had a new president, and all of a sudden, all markets were just rallying. And so it felt like, maybe it was naive of me, because I was still learning about Pokemon. I'm still learning now, still new, right? They were kind of connected. I thought the macroeconomics of it was affecting everything all at once. But I later learned in 2025, this was a unique beast. Pokemon was a unique beast because it had a supply and demand shortage. It had something that I had never experienced, but it wasn't hard to learn. You see, if you're good at other markets, in my opinion, from my experience, you can translate those skills rather easily. I've been doing stocks for 15, 16 years, right? Crypto for what, 9, 10? 10? Yeah. Shit, about, I don't know, something around there. You can use your skills from other sectors into Pokemon. And you won't be an expert at Pokemon. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm still a noob, right? I'm still learning. But you can shortcut a lot of these problems, a lot of the shortcomings, a lot of different areas, and they will translate fantastic. So maybe it would take an average person 5 years to learn something, but if you have other skills, you have other experiences. You've been through, I don't know how many, crypto, like I said, 3 bull runs, but stocks, I don't know, 5, 4, 5, like a lot, right? You start to understand things in a different way to where you could go to pretty much any sector and you can like feel it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Anybody been around markets, maybe not Pokemon per se, but like other markets for like over a decade and a half? And you just like feel something. You just kind of know. And that's that feeling I'm having with Pokemon. Because there's either I'm making a multi-million-dollar business or I'm going to die doing it. For me, that there is no in between. There is no failure. It's an interesting mindset. I don't meet many people like me. I don't know if that's the right answer, to be frank, but that's my answer. I've always been the kind of guy, you can just drop me off somewhere, anywhere, and I'll figure out a way to make money. I genuinely believe you could drop my ass off in Vietnam with a shirt and some sandals and some shorts, and I'll figure out how to make money eventually, and I'll figure it out. I'm just that kind of guy. There's no failure. I do fail. I'm not saying I don't fail. Like you get what I'm saying. That's the mindset that I have. Now, I might fail. Yes, I do fail all the time, but that's my mindset of like, when I'm ready to do something, we're doing this shit. And this Pokemon thing's not going away. Like me or not, this business will continue. And I am just so freaking bullish on Pokemon. My question has been for quite some time, as I've told all of you, the confidence level has only been up to the 30th. But I think a majority of the reason is because I have been negatively influenced by people on the internet. Not everybody, like there's some great people out there, right? That like been doing this a while, Rudy, Nostalgianomics, blah, 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 all these other guys, right? But I think it's a lot of like the comment section for me. I think, since I was new, and I'm still new, still learning every day, that like the negative aspect, when you see this Coca-Cola, what do you see? I'm gonna ask you a question. Let's pretend it's halfway. Do you look at this Coca-Cola as half empty or half full? I think I've been listening to too many people that see a half empty Coca-Cola. Meaning, this might be a bad analogy, I'm kind of making it up on the spot, so bear with me. Meaning you see the negative aspect. Well, what would happen? This could all go crashing down. But what if this bad thing happens? But you shouldn't buy that now because it could go down. It's triple MSRP. But what if? But oh my God, bad things are going to happen to me. Panic. Oh, right? And so why am I listening to that type of information? Instead, wow, we still got half a Coke left. Now, how can we get more Coke? You see? How can I get more Pokemon? How can I one day, 10 years from now, build an empire Pokemon? That's what I should be thinking about. And it's not going to be from the people who aren't doing it. I knew this information. I knew I shouldn't be listening to people who aren't running a business at a successful level. But I don't know if you guys are, so I'm not going to speak for you, but I think I was negatively influenced by people who don't even run a freaking business. You shouldn't buy that, Destin. That's $400, bro. No, dude, it's Ascended Heroes. It's $180, man. This thing's gonna be printed for years to come. Will it matter? Probably not. Is 180 a good buy for Ascended? I don't know. But will it matter in 3 years? No. But then again, like I said, I'm running a business. So I don't have 3 years to wait for one thing to move up. It's crazy because I had a comment, and it's so interesting, the comments that will stick with you on YouTube. I can't speak for other YouTubers. I can only speak for myself. I've been on YouTube for so long, bro. I think if you added up all my subscribers plus Twitch, I'm at like 45,000 subs, which isn't a lot. To be fair, I always pick like very niche YouTube channels like crypto mining instead of crypto. That was, a lot of money to be made, but it was a very small niche. I picked Diablo 2 before the remaster, did that for like years. I picked comic books. I always did things that were small, but made me a shit ton of money. Like this channel makes me a lot of money, not from the ad revenue, but like the business itself. But it'll never be a big channel. This channel can never be big. I'll never hit 100,000 subs because I'm a business channel. And I've chosen to stay small, but get a good, solid foundation. You see the difference? This channel could never hit 100,000. It's impossible. It can't. And that's okay. You must accept these things when making a niche. My point is, the comments over the years that I've received, and I've heard this before. I think it was Boogie. Remember when Boogie was relevant? Boogie 2998. What was his name? 2988? Whatever the hell his name is. You'll get 100 comments that are like super positive, oh, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And that's great. That always feels good, right? Thank you to everybody who does that. And then there's one comment. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be negative, but it like can challenge things. And that's the one that sticks with me, at least for me, because I've been doing this so long. Been on the internet so long, right? And it was DJ, are you going to do the method now that your store is blown up and hold 10% back of the product? For whatever reason, that comment stuck with me. I said, wait a minute. I do feel like my store has really blown up. I mean, we did last month, I don't remember exactly. It was definitely over 100,000 in sales. The month before that was like 114,000 in sales. This month, I don't think we're going to do 100,000 just because I messed up. Well, maybe I'll do a video on that. I didn't buy collections for like the first 10 days because I went on a family trip. I chose my family over, for summer break. I chose my family over getting 100K this month, which I don't regret that. That's okay. It doesn't matter. I thought about that. Like I could sell all these right now, all these prismatic, and I'd clear, I don't know, 150 bucks, maybe 200 bucks a case. 200 times, what'd I say? We'll call it 30 just for easy math, 6K. That's not worth it, right? That's not worth it for prismatic. Because if the answer was I could sell all these, profit 6K, and then buy more, it'd be okay. Can I buy them for what I paid? I don't know. Can I get more? I don't know. That's the problem, right? But the comment of, are you keeping it back for 10%? I think the answer should be yes for me for some sets. I think I should. I think I've gotten to the point now, just to show you, I mean, this is only one room, right? Like, dude, I've got enough inventory, and again, I have another storage room like this for the booster boxes and other things that I have, other cases and shit. This is just like prismatic, right? I think I can. I think I can somehow, some way, keep a little bit back, 10%. 20% would be nice, but I don't know. We'll see on that. I think my store has really gotten to that point now where I can blend in different things, where I can invest a little bit, not so much investment. Maybe I should consider that swing trades, huh? I don't think they say that in Pokemon. I'm using a lot of like business terms and finance terms, and I'm sorry, that's my degree, right? I have a business degree. It's useless. I don't know anything. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm just saying I know these terms from business, right? It's interesting too, because before I joined my career, became my career, you want to know what I thought when I was so young and naive? I wanted to build a company, own a company that was so large that I would own the biggest building in the world, the tallest building in the world. That was my dream when I was like 21 through like 25. Naive, young, dumb. Didn't really understand how things worked, right? I didn't. I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the CEO of this, blah, 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 blah. Interesting. And now I run a Pokemon business. I have 3 years, 3 months, I think 12 days left until I retire from my career. And then I need to figure out where I'm gonna go for this Pokemon business. And 3 years sounds like a long time, doesn't it? But it's not. Where am I gonna go? My parents want me to move back to Florida. Can I run a Pokemon business in Florida? I don't know. Where would I go? Because the problem, I used to live in Florida, right? I grew up in Florida for like 4 years, 5 years. Am I gonna find a warehouse somehow in Florida? I can't afford a warehouse. Do I just buy a big house? My old house, if you guys watch my other YouTube channel, I had a 3-car garage. I could run a Pokemon business out of a 3-car garage. I don't know. I don't know. It's fascinating to think about all these things. Where do I go next? What do I do next? I can tell you, in the short term, churn and burn. Absolutely. I don't need cash flow per se, though. That's what's crazy. A lot of businesses need cash flow. My business is very cash heavy right now. And I've been thinking about that. I'm like, wait, I have more inventory than I've ever had. And I arguably have more cash than I've ever had for my business. And now, like a day like today, when I slow down, right? I already packed all the orders. I'm like, how did I get all this money? It's not from my personal account, right? Dude, I have a lot of freaking sealed cases and a shit ton of cash in my bank account for my business account only, right? And I haven't really sat down with this business and, it's just been churn and burn, burn everything, get rid of everything as quick as I can, get resupply, burn it all. But now I have more cash than I ever had for this business and inventory. And so if I sell all this inventory, I'm gonna have stupid amount of cash for the business, which I will not take out for any personal use. It stays in the business, right? It's all business money. I don't touch it. And I'm like, wow, I've really built something here, dude. I think we're really onto something with this business, bro. Like, I don't know how much inventory I have. If I had to guess, oh God. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Maybe 60 grand in sealed product right now? Maybe? And then cash. I'm like the only YouTuber that tells you this shit. I don't know anybody transparent like me. I'm just guessing here. I don't know. Cash for the business, probably like 35, 40 grand. Ready to buy collections. Ready to buy. I'm ready to buy if you got a collection. But it's got to be good. I'm only looking for ETBs, booster boxes. I got like close to 40K cash in the business. Plus like 70K. Bro, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure I got over 100 grand for the business right now. I started this business with 22,000 in October of inventory. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, I don't know if it's exactly 100,000 in product and cash combined, but I think the business is like 6 figures, like in worth, not just in sales. I can't imagine like what I'm going to turn this business into a year from now. It's really life-changing. Now that we're so deep into the video, I'll be more real with you. I don't like to talk about it too much, but sometimes people ask me, but I like to level with you. I like to be honest. I never needed money before this business, right? I already had money from investing. I already had money from stocks, crypto. Of course, I got my S&P 500. Who doesn't invest it? If you're not investing in S&P 500, you need to start now. Seriously, especially if you're a younger person. I'm old, I'm 36, but still, even if you're 36, start now, dude. You gotta take care of that shit because you never know when you're old, you need that money, bro. Always take care of your retirement, take care of your family, right? Why I started this business, honestly, wasn't even for money. That's the crazy thing. I already had money. I didn't need more money. I mean, who doesn't need more money? Let me take that back. Who doesn't need more money, right? I started this to hang out with the kids. I started this because I couldn't relate with my son because he wanted to play Roblox and like other shit. And I didn't really have fun with that. And he didn't have fun with the things that I was interested in. And I remember hanging out with my dad and doing sports cards and stuff. And it was really obvious my kid wasn't going to be into sports cards. And I'm not even into sports cards anymore. In the 90s I was. And he fell in love with Pokemon really fast. And I was like, oh my God, I remember Pokemon. And so we both bonded on that. And so we created this channel. It was originally called DT's Poke Center. DJ and Troy, that's my son's name. DJ and Troy's Poke Center. And he was the one who had the idea to start this YouTube channel. I was probably going to stay in the crypto world. And it was great, man. I was making stupid money from ads, traveling the world, sponsorship, going on yacht parties with freaking million and a couple billionaires. It was crazy. I'm not even kidding. I was traveling. But I gave it up for my son. I gave up that life. And to be fair, crypto mining was going down the drain. I kind of felt that vibe for a while and I needed something new. But I didn't start this business for that. For me, this business isn't even about money per se. I'm not gonna lie, of course everybody likes making money, but For me, the business has become checking the block of achievement. That is what I really chase. That is what I love. I remember how bad I wanted my first 100,000 when I was younger. To make my first 100,000, to have 100,000, that was like unseen of, right? Because I grew up lower middle class, right? We had enough to, buy the stuff we needed, but it wasn't, we weren't like, you were never hungry, but you never had like really what you wanted in life, you know what I mean? And so 100,000 was like unfathomable for me growing up, unfathomable. And then when I had it, it didn't even feel as good as I thought it would. It was like the road to getting the money was the fun part. Achieving it was fun. But then once you get it, it's like, okay, well, now let's do 200 as a new goal, and then 500,000, let's do 500,000 as a goal. That was like the new goal. And so like, for me, running the business is fun. I love it, dude. It's not even work. I don't know. I've done hard labor. I've been outside, worked, in negative 20 degrees. I've worked outside in 130 plus degrees. That's work, labor, physical labor. This shit is easy, bro. Pick up box, move box. Oh, respond to a text message. It's fun. I enjoy it. I love making connections. I love when people hit me up and want to do things and work together and collab and stuff. That's not work to me. YouTube's not work. This is a fucking easiest shit in the world. In comparison, if you've ever worked like hard jobs, for me, this is enjoyable. And that's the sick part. This is why this business works so well with my personality. I've told you guys before, a lot of people like watching Netflix. A lot of people, their hobby is, date night with their wife and eating popcorn. My hobbies, still to this day, have not changed. It is stocks, like learning about stocks or crypto. Not so much crypto these days. You kind of just buy Bitcoin and forget you own it. You don't need to really look at it. Quarterly earning reports. I love that shit. I'm weird. I'm sick, bro. When NVIDIA quarterly earnings come out, I love looking at the data. I love looking at Tesla's report. I love looking at whatever, right? That's fascinating for me. I love knowing what's going on in the market, what's trending, the micro, the macroeconomics. I love all of that. I love the charts moving. It does something for me. That is fun, enjoyable. I consume business content. I consume finance content. That's why I consume Pokemon content that talks about business and it blends in. That's why when I first found Alpha Investments many moons ago, sorry to keep talking about Alpha Investments, it's just such an inspiration, right? I found Alpha Investments like 9 years ago, I don't know. He was talking about magic or some shit, but I didn't care about that. But he started talking about the S&P 500. He started talking about, I think he was talking about Bitcoin back then. I don't remember. He's talking about the finance side, so I decided to sub to him. Now, I never gave two shits about Pokemon back then or magic back then or any of that, but he would blend in the business side, so I would still watch him, even though for years, I watched them all through COVID, talk about COVID, all this shit. I didn't give a shit. I was too busy at that time invested in crypto and comic books. So comic books were doing great back then, right? I think I've rambled too much. I could probably talk for another hour, but I think I've bored you guys. I extremely doubt anybody's made it this far. I don't think there's really a point to this video, except for I need to buy more Pokemon. And if I don't buy more Pokemon, I might as well just quit the business. But there is no quit. Not with me. Made it to the end. Hashtag Coke. And if you're a super stud, hashtag zero Coke. Let me know if these kind of videos are interesting. I don't do them all the time. I try not to tell you too much, but I could tell you so much more. I really could. I love all of you. I hope you know that. I love all of you, man. It really means a lot to me that you guys watch my videos, and especially the people who made it to the end like this, man. It's different. I see a lot of comments, stupid ass comments, and if they don't have the hashtag, I know they didn't make it to the end of the video, so I don't even take them seriously. But like the people who make it to the end, you really invested 39 minutes, 40 minutes of your time to me, and that genuinely, I appreciate you. I love all of you. I hope you have a great day. Let's get on the grind, y'all. Let's enjoy this bull run. Peace.